team. But when you're in transition, ugh, I wouldn't have recommended it to Dale Talon if you put it on my plate back in the day.
Yeah, particularly when you're getting into your mid-30s out of a guy and maybe his numbers won't be as good and he'll be frustrated. We'll see how that works. So that, I guess, sort of tells us the Canucks plan to be good then. This is no rebuild. Do you think that they're a team that can turn it around next season?
I'm really curious, Forney, still to see what happens in the next couple of days here in Los Angeles. I think that the Pettersson thing, to me, is still floating around out there. There's so many. This team, a year and a half ago, I thought they were tracking in such a positive direction. Like, they were chasing culture for a long, long time, weren't they? They were going through coaches. They were going through different scenarios. And I still think now, after they had built that up and it went away, now they're going to try and reestablish culture. They make this deal, which is curious to me. But coming into the weekend here, I think that I'd be better positioned to answer that question after Friday night, because there's still a part of me that believes that Pettersson's no trade kicks in here next week. There's still a part of me that believes that those conversations are going on out there. Kipper would know better than me when it comes to these types of things, but I can tell you from being in these scenarios in the past, that we would milk it right through the draft just to be sure that we haven't turned over every stone. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was talking to Sammy on my way out here, Sammy Cause, and it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not creating rumors, but I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if Vancouver would get on the horn with a team like Buffalo and say, will you take Pettersson and the 15th overall pick, and in return give us Peterka and Bowen for an example. Like, these are the types of things, and then you kind of reestablish your where they're going next week. So I don't have an answer for you directly. I think they're caught in transition. I don't know what they are right now quite yet.
You're watching and listening to Jason Buka, who is in Los Angeles getting ready for Sportsnet's NHL Draft Friday night. Books, so for our listeners at Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, you've got uncertainty around Pettersson. You got uncertainty around Quinn Hughes. You got uncertainty with your goalie in Demko here. How important is it that Jimmy Rutherford and Patrick Allvin actually do something, including what you just mentioned with Buffalo, to at least let the fans know here that, we don't want you all hanging indefinitely here? Like, what do you tell the fans here in terms of who do they hang their hat on in this organization?
Yeah, tough one, isn't it? Obviously you want to hang your hat on Hughes for as long as you possibly can. He's the Bobby Orr of this generation, sort of, isn't he? Like, he's him and Makar, those types of players. I'm perplexed about the Canucks. I've talked about them ad nauseam. I've been nauseated actually talking about them as much as I have been, and I still don't know at the goaltending position what Demko can provide next year. Let's assume he's 100% healthy. Seelovs, by the way, guys, just ran the table in the American Hockey League and won MVP of the Calder Cup playoffs, where the Abbotsford Canucks won the Calder Cup. And hey, how about Manny Malhotra keeping it together when he didn't get the big gig in Vancouver? Good on him, right? What a pro. But anyways, I digress. I think that you got to take a look at moving somebody else out still to bulk up the roster, if you will. Seelovs he can go back down to the minors next year. That's not going to be where he wants to be. So, you take a look at moving Demko out then. I would actually take a look at that. I really would. And opening up some more money. They need more. They need more down the middle of the ice. This Kane deal doesn't do it for me. They need more down the middle of the ice. When JT Miller went out, you don't have to have, you guys have all been in dressing rooms before. I'm not saying that you have to have all choir boys in your dressing room, but when the first move out of the box is adding Evander Kane, that's so far beyond a choir boy to ruffle feathers. They need more. And Pettersson, my trust on that is still low right now. Even though he says he's doing all the right things, he's training, he's trying to get back into where he was. Boy, oh boy, I'm very uneasy, guys, as you can tell about where things are going in Vancouver. So I'd be investigating all kinds of different options this weekend. I really would.
Just want to follow up the goaltending market, and it seems like at least Vancouver's got a strength there, right? With Lankinen and Shelovs in terms of what he's been able to do just recently to win a championship here. The Leafs, to a lesser degree, was also an organization that had some strength in the depth. I'm not sure where it all finishes out with a kind of a weak finish for their goaltending situation. But would teams be pouncing right now on Vancouver and to a lesser degree Toronto with such a shortage in net?
Yeah, I would think Vancouver more than Toronto right now, but there could be an argument made that there's similarities between Wall and Demko a little bit. Like you could compare those two out. I think they'd be pouncing on Vancouver because they have Lankinen under contract and they signed him the extension. Of course, Shelovs is coming off what he just came off of here. So maybe I'm overthinking that. Maybe the Canucks are thinking, well, maybe Shelovs is at the top of his value right now, and maybe we go down that road and try and acquire something that way. That could be possible as well. So, but yeah, they'll be circling there, and you know, now that I sit here and think about it, I wonder in those Edmonton Oilers conversations if Shelov's name even came up for the Oilers. You know, like I don't know that. I'm just sitting here thinking about it. You know, like could that have been also in the equation? Because obviously the Oil need to do something in net, and Shelov's, I would take the risk on Shelov's being better than Pickard, and then you know whatever else happens there happens. But that would have been an upgrade.
Well, it is interesting that they've talked and got serious about trades, because certainly there may be a chance that as they move towards the draft or free agency, they'll say, hey, if this is still on the table, let's talk more. Curious to see if those two have any more contact or any more discussions. Want to make sure I get this in. Well, we have you. You know, as following the Islanders this year, it seems like Schaefer is going to be their guy at the draft. Everyone's talking about Hagens. Is it Hagens or Hagen?
Hagens in my book. But,
Hagens, okay. Everyone's talking about Hagens in New York. Well, what's going on? Is there a chance for the Isles to get back in and end up with both kids?
So the rumor, like I'm not into this. Like as you guys know, the way that I do my work, I don't talk to any of the other members of the fraternity when I'm scouting players. I don't do that. Like,
but we like rumors, though. We like rumors.
I know. So I'll float one out there that I heard in the coffee shop this morning. I heard that Hagens could drop as low as 11, and I just about spilt it all over myself. Like, if he gets past Nashville and Boston, I would be shocked. So, to your point, Warney, if it starts to drop in that type of situation, imagine it this way. You've got Schaefer at 1, okay? Now, do we believe in Dobson going forward? Like, do we really believe in Dobson? And if you don't, you pick up the phone and say, I'd really like to get Hagens too because he's going to be a 1 and Schaefer's going to be a 1. And will my team be better if I trade Dobson out and I have those two players instead of Dobson? So this is how it would work at the head of the table if I was running it. I would make a call if I see Hagens dropping to even 5 at Nashville. Nashville probably wouldn't get want a defenseman. But beyond that, I would absolutely pick up the phone and see if we can get aggressive that way and make a deal like that for sure. And it's a local kid. As you know, they want to put bodies in the seats. That's nice.
Yeah.
But you know what puts bodies in the seats even more